think the honorable thing for our species to do is deny our programming. Stop reproducing. Walk hand in hand into extinction. One last midnight, brothers and sisters opting out of a raw deal.
Do not trust any friends or family members. I repeat, do not trust.
Well, not fussing. I was annoyed, and I suppose maybe you were too, about student protests around the world, and everybody's giving a shit about them inappropriately. And,
okay, where are you coming down on that? You're mad that people are giving a shit, or that they're happening, or that they're busting them up?
No, okay. So I'm not mad that they're happening. I'm quite like I encourage them happening. That those things should happen. It certainly doesn't hurt for it to happen, unless some people fucking pointlessly over exaggerate what's happening. Like I was saying to James, the most sensible thing that anyone said about this thus far is that the universities just had to ignore what was happening for one more month, and then the semester would be over, right?
So it would just be like a bunch of weirdos camping on a lawn. I also
not able to pay their rent.
I also called out the size of these encampments too. I don't believe them to be very large or detrimental to anything. I think it's just a news article. I went full conspiracy. I'll admit it when we were off air, and I said that this is to distract from just inflation.
That sounds very. I mean, the size of the encampment thing sounds true. I don't know if it's. Do you think they're pulling this on us so that people forget about inflation?
Well, no, I think they're pumping the news up about it so that it's just that it's more in the forefront.
Get people mad. You know who really I listened to Behind the Bastards, where they talked about the history of think tanks and Reagan, and he was the first guy to really go full on students, and just I'm gonna shut down Berkeley, fuck those students protesting the war, and just bringing attention to it and bringing cops to bust them up and shit like that because they're un-American.
Yeah, that's exactly what I have in mind. Like when I'm looking at everybody's reaction to this, I'm like, the more things change, the more they stay the same.
Yeah, it's a very 70s sort of PC campuses are out of control. Look at this. Look at these people supporting Palestinians.
It's heads. Meanwhile, there's fucking everyone's accessing the food banks and. We were talking about Galen Weston making big bucks again, and
I saw that. Yeah.
He made another he made a wild comment there. These guys are over exaggerating and misinformed. I'm not profiteering. Fuck off.
Yeah.
That takes real balls, real fucking balls to say.
Well, what's a 10% increase in profit over a year? That's nothing. That's like pocket change to Loblaws.
He's named. I never really thought about his name being Galen. Like he's named after the ancient physician. That's so fucking shitty.
He's like a William Gibson villain waiting to happen.
He looks like William Gibson too.
No.
He's just no, I don't know if he does. He obviously he's all buttoned down and fancy sweaters with dress shirts underneath, etc. It's exactly what you'd think he'd look like. But anyway, that's
what's always funny to me is people, old rich people, really old rich people, like profiteering off of the backs of misery, knowing full well that they're just rotting and fading into dementia and death anyway. What benefit is it for you to just ruin the planet on your way out and toe the line for this shit? I'll never understand that.
He's still only 51. Give him some time, man. He's not there yet.
Oh man, he's definitely getting his colon inspected, and he's on his way to some type of cancer. Look at him; he's sickly and sad, disgusting looking.
Oh well, we got a Steve Jobs situation coming up. He probably stinks too.
Oh yeah, he smells like fucking. He smells like wet medical equipment.
Oh, that's the worst kind, man.
Oof, sour,
Oh, yuck. Yeah.
You don't want that.
Yeah.
Come at us, Weston.
Yeah. You know who else smells terrible? Apparently, smells like a fucking slaughterhouse, is what I heard.
That's what I heard. The breath.
A guy named Carnage, little fellow named Cletus Cassidy, reeks of the slaughterhouse, just like fucking Galen Weston Jr.'s. Fucking garbage.
Comparable body count.
Anyway, all right, everybody. Extinction agenda time with James,
Chris,
and we're doing one of our character studies. I think we've already kind of done Carnage, but you know what? We're doing Carnage on Carnage. Old Cletus Cassidy. What fuck, I didn't even what year are these books from? We did 3 books.
Mind Bomb's 96.
Yeah,
Carnage
I think the other
USA
one
is 2013. And It's a Wonderful Life. I don't know the titles.
It's a Wonderful
Life. Like that?
No, it's later on in 96, if I recall. They came out in the same year. I think actually I wrote this.
Which one did you guys want to do first?
That's a good question, because like they come at it. I mean, oh man. Let's go with what we enjoyed no. No. Okay. Carnage. Carnage is a character. One of the reasons, James, that we took this on is because Chris found himself thinking about what you were saying about Carnage not being someone who actually murders people. He just like jumps on top of the hoods of cars and the Carnage is here, you know. And he's not particularly like violent or Carnage like, and so I was thinking, well, no, there's plenty of violent Carnage stuff out there, you know, like he's got a body count and he's a really popular character for whatever fucking reason nowadays. He still has his own ongoing series. So I thought we would dip into like what have some of the people done like dark shit with the Carnage and see whether anything new comes out of that in terms of like what the character could be, you know, how they might be spun a different way or whether or not that's even possible. You know, spoilers, I'm not sure that it is. But I'm hopeful that one of you guys say something that sparks like a fucking eureka moment for me. So the first one, the first one's by Warren Ellis. The second one, Mind Bombs by Warren Ellis, written by Warren Ellis, illustrated by Kyle Hotz. The second one also illustrated by Kyle Hotz. It's a Wonderful Life, but it's written by the guy who did Faust with Tim Vigil, David Quinn. And then the final one that we did, you said it was from 2013, Carnage Unit USA. What was this thing fucking called? Carnage USA?
Yeah.
Carnage USA.
Zeb Wells.
Yeah. And our boy Clayton Crane, penciler, inker, colorist extraordinaire.
Well, I think we start with Mind Bomb. Mind Bomb sucked.
He really did.
Warren should be ashamed of himself.
Oh, that's really funny because it was my favorite of the ones.
No.
What?
Yeah.
Tell us why.
So anyone who hasn't read Carnage Mind Bomb, it's I don't know what the fuck. It's very 1996 Warren Ellis, doing their best. I don't fuck what was their career like in 96? I don't even know, but they're doing a thing. What did I like about it? I liked that it was very clear. I thought what he was attempting to do with Carnage, and this was probably the first time, is to take the character of Carnage, Cletus Cassidy, the ultimate serial killer, whatever, and really like step into that. And I liked some of the imagery of like, what do you think of death? I think it's beautiful. Like, and he's just making all these references to fucking Kennedy getting his brains blown out and shit like that. And I thought it was.
That's a Misfits song.
Kennedy's going to get his brains blown out.
Yeah.
Wow.
Did he quote the Misfits song, or?
I think he's thinking of the Misfits song.
Oh, fucking right.
I can't think of the name of it.
Second song reference of the night.
Yeah.
Oh, maybe we'll go for. Maybe we'll get third. I don't know. I thought that Carnage is so nothing to try and pivot him as this incarnation of madness and violence. Like try to make him as some sort of like cosmic force, who takes place. Like I kill because it makes me feel like I'm on TV with my own personal soundtrack, like JFK, brains on the leather and pretty blood on his pretty wife. And his pretty wife, now think of it, all wet and humiliated, crawling in front of the whole world. I like that too. I don't know. I thought this was pretty good, and I thought the art complemented it well. Did it add up to anything in the end? No. He drove his expert psychiatrist interrogator mad, and turned him into a violent thug at the end, and that's it. It's just, he's meant to be some sort of infectious force, some sort of infectious psychosis. I think that removes him from the realm of Spider-Man villainy.
Yes, very much so. Exactly.
but I was like, okay, cool. Like in '96, this was probably hot shit.
This felt like such a textbook, like Ellis plot, like talkie build-up, threat of off-the-rails insanity, sciencey thing you read in Scientific America, edgelord bullshit, shock moment, and
yeah, it's true.
Wow.
And it really felt like, and anyone else feel like it was like a bit of a riff on, like it was like a bit of like little Sin City riffing going, little Spawn riffing going.
Yeah, very much so.
It just didn't
like Violator a little bit.
Yeah, it just didn't track, and that even that page like you just sort of described, James, that was just so, everything's so forced, like Carnage.
Yeah, I'll buy that. Yeah, that's true.
The woman cutting a hole tied to the bed, Mr. Goodbar inserting a vacuum cleaner tube into his stomach. It's just like, I'm gonna try to think of the most gross thing I can think of that's like a fucking grade 8's idea. Like, it just didn't.
Yeah, it's not memorable. No, it's
didn't track for me. And then,
yeah.
I mean, most awesome part was the nude insanity guy, which again, just, I don't know.
The psychologist at the end.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then Cletus like stays locked up on purpose.
Yeah, that was a little strange. Like they're trying to like close the door because he's just so, and it's J. Jonah Jameson's son, I think, is the fella here. It's weird, the relationship between J. Jonah Jameson's son and Carnage. I don't know what to make of it. I don't think there's anything to make out of it other than like it's a very weird pairing. Because we'll see it later on, even in Carnage USA. If I recall correctly. I mean, am I misremembering? Oh no, that's Flash Thompson. No. Okay, so this guy here in the first two books is J. Jonah Jameson's son, and then the other dude in Carnage USA is Flash Thompson. But both of them are like Spidey sidekicks, like ancillary characters, and just to have them so tied up in this sort of nothing Spider-Man villain. I don't know. Lots of choices were made in the 90s.
Yeah.
Have you guys ever read the Wikipedia on Carnage's powers and abilities?
I read a wiki about it.
I'm not going to read it because it's an essay, but I'll tell you it's ludicrous. Easily one of the most overpowered villains, and especially to have like a this isn't like really like schizophrenic behavior or like psychotic behavior. It's like a grade 8's idea of it. So it's like it's not. This is not a character that has any type of, like, even the Joker randomly comes up with an idea, or is like driven down like a plot line. Like this isn't. This is something else. Yeah. It's just like I kill people. Yeah. It's like that's what it's like, and it's just like when he's overpowered, like to the power level and the things that the symbiote are described to be able to do, and the excuses for it because it was birthed on Earth with exposure to Spider-Man DNA and Venom and the self-replicating. Yeah, the self-replicating symbiote, and that's why it's like overpowered. That's why it's more powerful than Venom, and it's just out of hand. And it's like because of all that too, I feel like it's almost unusable. I think Carnage USA did an okay job giving you a real sense of what a fucking problem that power level is, which was pretty fun. It's a Wonderful Life, I did not mind, though.
And that's so what I guess in that one. So whereas in Mind Bomb, it's everything Chris described was just like, classic Warren Ellisisms all over the place. With Carnage isn't really doing anything other than talking at the camera, doing some sort of like thought exercise or mental exercise or rhetorical exercise. At least in It's a Wonderful Life is a continuation of this story, but there's also some sort of conflict. There's an actual conflict. Whether or not it's a good conflict is a different question, but they get sucked into Carnage's mind, and they have to like overcome their darkness, and maintain some sort of veil of civilization. Try not to turn into a werewolf or
cockroach.
Cockroach, yeah. What's the guy's?
That's funny.
Mensa, Gregor Mensa. Who's the dude?
Gregor Samsa. From
from
the Metamorphosis, yeah.
So a little bit of that kind of shit going on. And it was a lot more fun trying to see the tendrils of Carnage trying to escape like through the toilet and all this. Yeah,
I like that too. Yeah, kind of haunting the toilets of the facility and just like, wherever you go, there's Carnage. And, they got
that's a very Ghoulies thing, yeah.
Yeah, totally.
Carnage too in this one I found like a little more wacky, and then the touch base on the post-traumatic stress with the mom being murdered. The dad was actually just protecting him, and I don't know, the Carnage had a little more. I just liked the twist a little bit better. Like I thought he had a little more wiggle room. There's a little more option for him to sort of goof around with his prey, kind of.
I think he works better as a cartoon, and I think that what this does is it's more of a Pee Wee Herman kind of story, or like a very dark. Like I'm looking at that one page. What fucking page? I guess it's page 3. Wow, does it happen so early? He's jumping into it's a postcard. Welcome to Atro City. Nice little reference to the heart, I suppose. And he's jumping into a pool of blood, and those girls are on the side, and they're like, "Oh, Carney!" and he's splashing blood all over them.
He's almost like a later on. He's almost like a, what do you call that? Like a Jay Leno.
Right. Yeah. Like a talk show host kind of dude. Actually, I think it was page 21. Yeah, 3 was too early for that. Yeah, I think maybe something like that could work. Maybe with Spider-Man, like because at a power level like that, you want to make him like a Mr. Mix-Up-Piddlix or something. Like when this guy shows up, he's deadly, but also cartoonish. He's fun. Like maybe I don't like not Deadpool fun, although similar. Like that it's a way to diffuse the mind bomb. But you don't want to go too far, like you want to keep it dark, you want to keep him still dangerous or whatever. And like him operating in these psychic realms, it makes sense Spider-Man can actually fight him in this place. But in the physical realm, like I'm just like, what the fuck? Like he doesn't, like you said, James, he's way too overpowered. It makes no sense.
No, there's no competing, like, because if he rolls in somewhere and just butchers everyone, which that's easy. And stopping him is very difficult. And the idea of him killing Spider-Man also seems very easy. So why hasn't that happened? So if you're going to say that hasn't happened, then I mean, at least like lean into it. Why hasn't it happened? Because he fucking enjoys it.
Yeah. And he could, and like, so, and it is shades of Joker. It's shades of Arcade. It's shades like the thing about Carnage is, and I think I had said this last time when we talked about Carnage. Like he's the original, like Venom was originally meant to be like a dark mirror of Spider-Man. Like he's dark, he's violent, he's big, he's brutish. But then he ended up being too popular, and they turned him into a hero. And so they were like, well, fuck, we got to go back to the drawing board and make another dark mirror of Spider-Man. And they made him like more of a Joker. like a comedian, like Spider-Man is, sort of a serial killer comedian.
Yeah, and they pushed it into the Cletus Cassidy being a serial killer, which then if we lean in that far, then the character's unredeemable. So we have a heel forever.
Right? Yeah, proper villain. But then you end up with like a character that is like empty.
Yeah, well, exactly, because I think like you're wasting the serial killer concept. Like it's like putting a giant foam novelty cowboy hat on top of a cowboy hat, because it's like, okay, like it's already scary that this guy can kill everything like stealthily, but then when you power him up to the point where he just like has to be a mindless like slaughter monster, then everything's gonna come down on him. Like, so he can't actually work, he can't actually kill anything, because it's just too great a threat, right?
Yeah, so he just stays locked up all the time, which is what we saw in Mind Bomb and It's a Wonderful Life. It all takes place in prison, and it's all about like how the infection of him might get out. So it's very much like stories about him end up being about containing him, and that's like putting Doctor Who in like a prison for like 3 episodes of your miniseries or whatever. Like he's just sitting around waiting to get out and do something. Like he's anti-action, strangely.
Well, and putting him with like he's not even you know what I mean? Like yes, you can do like Carnage books, and you can do like a mature readers thing with it, and you can kill people. Sure, you can do that now, right? Comics Code's gone, whatever. But when he's organically paired with Spider-Man because he's a Spider-Man villain. But that is the worst book to try to create murder. And Spider-Man's not getting a Max series. That's stupid. Yeah. No one wants that. It's not going to happen. It doesn't cater to the character. It's not really. It's not that it's not possible.
I'd like it at least once.
I'm not saying it's not a good idea. I'm saying we're not going to see it. But yeah. So then you've got a real problem on your hands, like, because everybody's hobbled. It's not like Spawn, where I can get stupid. You know, you can get grimy, you can swear, you can rape, you can murder, you can go to hell, you can do whatever you want. You can jump a kid's ice cream truck. Yeah, exactly. But this, you can't do anything with it. Your hands are tied, especially if you're going to work with Spider-Man.
Because even like in well, not to jump too far ahead, but like in the Carnage USA, like Spider-Man just ends up looking stupid because he's like, we can't kill anybody, and like. The Venom's whatever the new Venom guy is like, but if he's him, like we have to kill Carnage, and it's true, you fucking have to. And this is like the limitation of the plot. Like the only plot you can have, and I think James, you were saying this in chat, is like either it's all going to be gratuitous murder and unstoppable, like fucking Godzilla's walked through your town, or your only plot can be like he possesses another character and that character can resist somewhat, because Cletus Cassidy is already the perfect host for him. Like he's great at murder, he loves murder, so there's going to be no resistance. You can't go anywhere with that.
Yeah, it was like it's super flawed. Like I did of the various carnagizations that ever happened, they made the Red Goblin. Norman Osborn got the Carnage symbiote. And if nothing else, it was a knockdown, drag out, fucking cool fight where it was a great design, like a really good sort of way of making Carnage and the Green Goblin work together. And like I think just aesthetically, I liked it. It still makes no sense though. If anything, Spider-Man
they did the Carnage. I read that they did the Carnage Surfer also.
Yeah, I read that issue. Like, read is a strong word. I flipped through it with disgust. Like, it doesn't make any sense. Like, it doesn't. Like, that's what I was like. That's dumb. Like, it's the power cosmic, man. Like, if Carnage can do that, then it's game over, man. He should cover the entire Earth in a red soupy goo and turn us all into fucking idiots.
I think. Chris touched on that too. Is like the character's hollow. So you fuck around with it a little bit, and then you're like, well, Venom can go from Spider-Man to Eddie Brock. So let's fucking Carnageify different things was your word, Carnageify.
Yeah.
And then that's I guess like a huge trope, because I think we read like 12 or 13 different fucking names have been Carnageified to try to for whatever reason to try to rebrand or do a really comes off like Marvel Zombies to me. Ooh, like I don't understand it. It's not a good idea. I don't know why it's popular.
I'm go ahead.
Well, I was talking to Maya about this, my daughter, turning 14. She's got some familiarity with a lot of characters, and so we were just chatting a little bit about Carnage, and I was just trying to explain why it was so flawed a concept. She's like, yeah, cool design though. And I really think that cool design though goes a long way in comics.
Yeah, it does. Yeah, it definitely does. But still though, like, what are they, like, the question I have, and I can't bring myself to answer, is like, what's going on in comics nowadays? Like, there are Carnage comics right now. What could you possibly be doing in this story? Like, I don't want to find out, because I don't care who's writing it. It's like it's kryptonite. You can't you can't do nothing with it.
In a lot of ways, Warren Ellis is the ultimate choice, because he's sort of the Carnage of the comics writing world. Like it fits, but
yeah,
I also don't want any more of that.
Yeah, well, I think that's definitely one of the reasons I picked it. I was like, I hadn't read it, but I had flipped through it, and I was like, okay, well, thinking of James's complaint about the lack of violence, I was like, well, there's definitely violence here, so that's something. But yeah,
good horror moment where he like taps the psychologist's skull with like the spike and like pumps his mind into him. That was sufficiently gross.
Yeah, that's true. It's true. Hey, well, if you guys are curious, it looks like Carnage is going to slaughter Venoms across the multiverse.
Good.
And continue his dark ascent to power. Yeah.
They did it.
They did this whole crossover with the symbiotes and stuff. Like, it's like they just, like, people really love the concept of the symbiote, and
yeah.
I like this flesh that covers you. Like, is that's basically like it's just this weird organic exoskeleton that is also sort of liquid or whatever. And I'm not like, that's the
I'm into
appeal.
it. I'm into it.
Yeah.
Man. Yeah. Like, I love Venom. Like, I mean, I love the concept of Venom. Venom is usually done very poorly, but like at least there's something there. Like, there's an anti-hero thing that's possible with Venom. Like, it can go a lot of different ways.
So it has the virtues of you can get a story about corruption. You can get a story about being like feeling suffocated, enclosed. Like, maybe the ultimate thing about characters like Venom and Carnage, like, maybe it's really appropriate that the first two stories where people tried to really do something with Carnage was about containment, was about like keeping it in. Like, that's precisely what Carnage does to you when he overtakes you. He's this way of insulating yourself from the world, and I don't know, like, just allowing yourself to give into your id, maybe there's something in that one could point to.
Maybe there's
I'm fucking grasping at straws here.
No one has them.
There's the triteness of that It's a Wonderful Life, in that, like, how they have to beat Carnage to like get into his inner core and like analyze him, and what they find out is that he wants praise like everyone else, and like has to like craves human attention and affection. Like, that's not how serial killers work. That's not an interesting insight. That's trite.
Yeah, like, I don't know what I want to be found at the bottom. I don't think that you could put anything at the bottom of him that would be satisfying, because, like, when they're like, oh, like, the childhood trauma caused this, like, well, okay, maybe, but then we're trying to get sympathy for the Carnage? No, like, that's not what you do with a villain like that. You want him to luxuriate in his own villainousness. and be somehow still charming and fun and like be on side with him as he's a murdering prick. And they haven't managed that, or maybe they have. Maybe like it's a cool design. Plus, people just really are charmed by the violence somehow.
I feel like Zeb Wells really tried for that.
Yeah, I gotta be honest. Zeb Wells, like I enjoyed that one more than the other books. Simply just for sort of, even though it dragged on and was absolutely fucking stupid, it still kind of made me laugh. It was clear. It was a story. If there was a conflict,
it was a story.
It was a story, right?
It was fun. I gotta say, it was really stupid, and I got really annoyed with it. But it's at first. But it then I mean, they pulled the kids. It's coming from the drain. Mommy, help me.
Yeah.
And they got the baby covered in the fucking symbiote, and it just starts off with that war zone. Like, he's trying to go for authentic horror moments, and they honestly pulled it off a couple times. They kind of surprised me, and I was like, oh, that's appropriately horrific, or that's a real fucking sociopathic fucking maniac. And then they did the kind of the WandaVision thing, right? With the he's taking over the whole town with his symbiote. Yeah.
Question for you guys: have either of you guys seen Slither, the James Gunn horror movie?
I have.
Okay, because I feel like Zeb Wells saw Slither and was like, I know what to do with Carnage.
Fill me in. I don't know anything about Slither.
Have little slugs crawl up everyone's butt and change them into zombies.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
And it's sort of like claustrophobia with a small town like being taken over like that. There's like bathtub drain scenes and stuff like that. Like it felt of a piece.
Yeah, and there's Texas Chainsaw Massacre vibes going on, like with the meat packing plant and stuff, like it's centering it around that. And there was like, honestly, there was some funny bits when they were making fun of Ben Grimm.
I like that.
Let me guess. It's collaborative time. That was fucking hilarious.
It was, of course it is.
Yeah. Ben,
And they played it out like 3 pages before.
Yeah.
That was a nice little touch.
Ben, he's a great guy. He needs some new material. He's not that bad. And then the guy answers the phone. Ever-loving blue-eyed thing speaking. What can I do for you? Oh, hi, Ben. How'd he answer the phone? It was fucking. It felt really misplaced. In this particular story.
God, everything does.
Yeah.
Yeah, this was wacky. This was actually like pretty fun. And then it went so sideways, and then it just got dumber and dumber. And then they assembled like a Wetworks team of symbiotes, and I was like, oh man, like this is an absolute shit ride.
Yeah.
Because the Avengers get Carnagified.
Yeah, that's right. So, and they easily get Carnagified.
Yeah.
What the fuck? But that's fine with me. I was accepting it as I went along. I really like ripped in half Carnage with like weird robot legs too. That's some fucking.
Yeah, I don't know the history of that.
Odd choice.
There was. I did read that at some point or another, what critical damage was done to Carnage, and he was ripped in half.
Yes, the Sentry. Bendis did that. He got Bendis.
He Bendis.
Yeah. And I see. I think I knew that while I was reading. And then
somebody decided to keep that continuity rolling, even though they had a reboot story here. Like this is a good fresh trade paperback.
Yeah.
But he was like, no, you know what? I'm gonna keep his fucking creepy robot legs, which really didn't hurt the story at all. Him walking around the town nude,
smooth,
with no crotch and smooth robo legs, just like big fucking pipes on him, just drinking Coke cans and talking to the locals, like trying to get himself married with kids to some hillbillies. And it was fucked up.
Yeah, I don't know what's motivating him in it's Carnage as I understand him, Cletus Cassidy and all that stuff. Like he's gone. Like I by 2013, I don't know what sort of mutations and changes had happened in the character. Like they'd clearly moved away from serial killer yokel and were tried to replace him with something a little more, even just handsome. Like putting aside his like weird robot legs and stuff, right? But he doesn't even look like the same character anymore.
No,
he's all muscular and everything, and like it's just very different. And not for the better. I don't think either. Like he lost his clownish elements, I suppose. And I don't know. I don't know, like this sort of horror, like you can't keep going to this well in a superhero comic. I guess you can. Now you can do whatever you want, but
no, and this is I guess this is as close to me. This is again the Marvel Zombies thing, where this is as close to like horror as you can get. Like you dragged Spider-Man into a Max series book, right? So I guess we did get the sample that I made fun of earlier.
Yeah. Even then, though,
exist, but even then, it's, like you say, it's tame. Yeah. Like the wife has a chance to cut the husband's head off and fucking go marry Cletus and really go to absurd town, and it never really happens. No one really dies in any kind of a bad way, really. The horror stuff's mostly affected in the artwork. It's not really it's not really literal visceral things that happen, except for like the off-panel child death that's explained at the end, maybe.
Oh, that's right. I had 3 kids. What do we think of the art? Now that you mentioned the art,
I hate the art.
It's very computer generated.
It is, yeah. That's super, yeah, and it's like blurry for no good reason a lot of the time. Like,
but it's like trying to do a Norman Rockwell thing.
I suppose it is, but also is, if so, certainly not interested in doing it well.
No, that's the problem. Yeah. And this, it's just sort of nauseating. The Norman Rockwell thing is fucking gross. It's gross. It looks like someone whose skin has been ripped off and it's just muscle underneath, but like a lot of muscle. I don't like it.
I'm never going to forgive this. Oh, go ahead.
No, I was going to say it. It just looks like AI Norman Rockwell.
Yeah. I was going to say that I'm never going to forgive this artist, Clayton Crane or whatever, for the way he draws the Thing. Like, do you have no sense of joy in your life, my friend? Like, what are you doing? You're drawing him like a big, bald, muscular guy. Like, there's no, getting to my comment about like the cartoonishness is gone. You can't even draw the Thing with joy. You just have to make him look like a kind of a, I don't know, like an orange big guy. I was very disappointed. You got one job when you're drawing the Thing, and he can't even do that. That's all. Maybe that's just me. That's probably just me.
No, it's totally true. Also, like, what the fuck? Why? Like, it's a sonic gun again. It's a sonic gun. That's all
the sonic guns. Yeah, that's
Sonic gun gets a fucking symbiote every time.
Yep.
No, like, there's nothing else we can do. No other option here. No writing.
Yeah, something. So, like, can Spider-Man use his intelligence to, like, what he actually, and then maybe this gets to your Chris. I think. Well, actually, I don't remember whose thought this was, but basically Spider-Man, even in the realm of like coming up with an idea to deal with the symbiote, gets outclassed by like this nothing character in the background, like this other symbiote.
Scorn? Yeah.
Yeah, fucking a woman scorned.
Who's a product of like a prolonged psychic rape by Carnage? Like I didn't like that.
Yeah. Yeah, there's a lot of dark shit here, but like it's
glazed over.
Yeah, just glazed over dark shit. Yeah. And this could have been an opportunity for Spider-Man to come, do his fucking problem solving thing, to show that he's on the level, that he can deal with the Carnage, because he deals with the Carnage all the time. But like he just, I don't know, he's just floundering. He's just I think all the characters in this, even Captain America, who manages to sort of break free from the control for a bit or whatever.
That is so fucking annoying too, because like there's no tension in having, I'm gonna be Captain America, kill a child. There is no possible way that's gonna happen. So it's just an annoying like fucking tease, and like yeah.
Yeah.
It was the same thing with Spider-Man. Like, I get the morals, but like Venom's gonna shoot Cletus in the mouth. What benefit is there for Spider-Man to be like, no, we're all good guys? Like, this town's it's drenched in blood. It's a fucking horror show.
Yeah.
Right. And that's it's all off panel. But like, what does he do? What are you doing? You're not Batman. Shut up. You already killed people before.
Yeah, like maybe Carnage's lesson is that Spider-Man needs to grow up sometime. I don't know. It's dark, but just like, yeah, sometimes it's got to be done. Speaking of like weird messages, I love the cops in this. Like, when the first thing that they clue into this town being taken over is that Cassidy carves over 500 poorly spelled names on the sheriff's body and sends them to him. And they're like, it took our handwriting expert 36 hours to decipher it. Well, maybe the fucking message wasn't the point. Maybe the medium is the message in this case. They could have sent the Avengers in at any time to like sooner, and maybe this whole shit show doesn't happen. So fuck you, cops.
I think I'm looking at the closing of this story though, where it's once again Cletus Cassidy has been like captured and he's imprisoned. And it's just another it goes back to Mind Bomb and It's a Wonderful Life. Like, containment is so essential to this character, and the threat of him breaking out, like a virus or like an infection, and that is, I think we're saying the same thing over and over and over. But I mean, like, that's something that could be very awesome once. Maybe twice, like when Ebola gets out once, that's dramatic. When it gets out a second time, what the fuck? Like, Spider-Man can't deal with the Ebola, they got to deal with that.
That's true. It's like a Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Shredder situation, It's better if it's the one and done, and then he's gone.
Yeah, well, it's a little different. I mean, everybody wants Shredder to come back every once in a while, but nobody. But I think there's not a great idea, but there's an idea that everybody keeps circling around with Carnage in various forms from various angles, with various intensities, and at the end of the day, they end up coming up with the same thing, which is this guy needs to be put into a closet and never used again.
After being shot with
that's
a
true.
gun.
Yeah.
Oh, give me your perspective on the amputee meat hook fight that
I know what you were going to say. Time out. You were going to say the same thing I was going to say, and that was like, let's get excited about the symbiote-less cripple fight.
Yeah.
That was awesome.
Yeah, no, that was unexpected, and
it was the only time
ought to have been.
Yeah, it was the only time I felt like there were stakes. I was like,
absolutely.
Oh shit! What the fuck did that happen?
He grabs the meat hook. He's like swinging on it, like, oh, that's so fucking weird and gross.
And his legs kind of crumple on him to start with, and then they're both like the torsos just swinging at each other. It's madness. Like, what prompted him to be like, here's where we peak. Venom versus Carnage with no symbiotes and no legs.
And the editors were just like, yep. Go with it.
Yeah, I'm gonna let this fly. I'm fucking biting his neck and shit. Ah.
I'm editor Stephen Wacker. So he was editing Spider-Man books at the time. I don't know. I think that was a good time in Spider-Man books when Stephen Wacker was up.
Not too bad. Yeah, just smoking a big fat one and green lighting this baby.
Give Daddy a taste.
Yes.
Well, that's why that's why this is the best one out of all of them. Because it's true. And then it's both the best and worst.
Yeah.
To flip the page and see the Venom gorilla too.
Well, exactly. I was just gonna say, like, the dumbest possible idea is like having symbiotes on zoo animals, which is like some weird rancher has lions and gorillas.
Well, that happens, I guess.
It's like leaning into the worst of it. Is I think it's just like whatever happened here in this book. It's that as the book progressed, there was an acceptance that Carnage is a shit show, and then they just gave us what we wanted. Like, I wanted those things to happen. I didn't know I wanted them to happen, but then when you gave them to me, I got fired up.
Isn't that exactly what Carnage says in the Wonderful Life when he's like kind of like saying, you know, the bloodlust for TV? Like, it's just sort of, this is where we want to be. Ultimately, we all want Carnage. Yeah. And we did. We did
all want Carnage.
And I want more. I don't know. Like, I can't possibly in my entire life ever want to go back to. I mean, I say it now, but right, you know, like 2 years from now, we're gonna be like, you know what, man, we got to get back on that Carnage train.
Yeah. Anybody drop a trade paperback with some good action or what?
Yeah, I'm sure there is. I mean, it's time for our Carnage update.
The Wolverine rhetoric at the end was great too. That was my favorite part, I think.
I've hated that Wolverine got like nothing cool happened in here. Like Wolverine versus Carnage, very cool. I would love to have just seen that, like a nice mano a mano between those two. I think that's a perfect sort of thing to do. And it's probably happened in other books, but just to see him get kind of bitched out in this, very disappointing.
Yeah, and just to have his kind of memo at the end.
Yeah.
Makes me wonder what we're doing here when we don't stop a man from doing what needs to be done.
Yeah.
What? Great.
We did enough. We kept him from having his way. Like yeah, it's so dumb. Like and like with superheroes who have this moral high standard where they're not going to kill anyone for whatever reason, they like it behooves you to not put them in a situation where any rational reader is like, what the fuck, why not? Like you can't have that situation. Like with the Joker, like Batman needs to kill the Joker, and the only reason I can accept that Batman doesn't kill the Joker is because Batman's like the greatest person ever, you know, and he has some sort of high standard that he holds himself up to, and he washes himself. But even then, the Joker should be dead. Someone else should have done it. Something should have happened. And it's a problem. And you can't signpost it too much. Or
you know what the biggest problem is too? Having any number of godlike Avengers that couldn't possibly be possessed by a symbiote, and sending down the only 5 that could.
Yeah. That's a good point.
I feel like
where was Iron Man?
Like Wonder Man can't be, Vision can't be, Thor can't be. Like, sorry, what the fuck?
Yeah, well, Chris just said Wolverine ought to have been able to resist or something.
Like he resisted the Brood. Like that's.
Yeah, true. Same thing with Cap, that he actually did and then didn't, which didn't make any sense.
Yeah, it was just because like Zeb Wells, you know, God bless him, he clearly likes Cap. I don't think he really liked doing this to anyone. I wonder how this job came about. Whether or not he was asked to write it, you know, whether or not he woke up in the middle of the night, had his pen in hand, just writing down notes, woke up in the morning and was like, fuck.
He's like, I got all these cool superheroes, but I'm going to Carnageify them, and then I'm going to make them stand in the corner of a bar, and then basically I'm going to have like 2 guys with no legs fight, and I'm going to have Gorilla Venom instead.
Yeah, fucking, that's it. Go with it.
Day.
Yeah.
That's a hell of a day, man. That's a hell of a paycheck.
That's a hell of a way. Honestly, in my opinion, in the Carnage universe, if you're living the Carnage life, that is the best outcome, really.
Now all we need is a little energon and a lot of luck.